did get the bracket on the driver's side off. It's sitting in two pieces there. I will show you why I did it in two pieces. It just made it a little bit easier. First, I took the top section and I just cut a relief hole with my grinder, just a slot that kind of went like this. And I went all the way back to where it mounts on this side. I got as close as I could on this side without removing the control arm. And then I took the grinder and I went up this direction and I used a hammer and hammered it, weakened it, pulled it back to this side, and I just kept going. And then on this side I went straight up. I had to watch out for my control arm, or my tie rod, because this is the Kryptonite tie rod, which is like 3 times thicker than the factory one. If you have a factory one, you might not have to worry about that. Also, obviously, keep control of the grinder or whatever machine you're using to not cut your control arm. Another thing I did beforehand was I just disconnected the sway bar, because it sits right here and there was no way I was going to get in there. Then I have jack stand under the frame, under the control arm, and then I have the actual jack underneath the edge out here on the edge of the spindle, or on the edge of the control arm. That way I can get as much leverage out here as possible, so when you jack it up, it's easier just to jack up out here. So that's how it's going to look afterward. I do suggest spray painting it. You get to this side, I would leave this one in, mainly because bump stops there, but also because this will also help limit hyperextension, which you don't want at all, obviously. The CV itself should help limit hyperextension as long as it doesn't pull apart, but I haven't had one pull apart on a Chevy yet, just kind of broke one on the inside of the fin there. So yeah, it's not hard to do. It took me longer to disassemble the sway bar and the skid plate and stuff than it did to actually cut it. It took me longer to get prepped. So it's really not hard, just got to be careful. If you do plan on taking your control arms off though, I do suggest marking. That way you can put your control arms back in the same spot without having to go back for another $120 alignment. That wouldn't be fun. Nobody wants to spend an extra $100, especially after I got an alignment last weekend. Oh well. So yeah, there's that. It's not hard to do. If you're even slightly competent with a grinder and a hammer, you can do this pretty easily.